Yes, we have Barnes & Noble there and me here. Hello everybody and welcome back to maybe like the most exciting vlog I will ever film. That's so dramatic, but I don't think I've been so excited to read a book ever. So, yes, today is Tuesday, January 31st. I normally don't start vlogs on Tuesday, but obviously I have a very special book that I'm going to be reading in this vlog. Look at it! I am so beyond excited. I have absolutely no words for the fact that I have this in my hands right now. Like, yeah. This is the start of another reading vlog, but I'm only gonna be reading this book in this reading vlog, so very exciting. No spoilers. I'm gonna make this spoiler free, even though I might do like a little spoilery section at the very end of the video, just because like I'm sure things will happen and I will need to talk about said things, but as I'm like reading it normally like throughout the week, I'm not gonna do spoilers, so putting that out there. But yes, it's time. So it is currently like 9 o'clock on Tuesday morning. I went immediately to Barnes & Noble this morning and I got this book. I also, well actually that's a lie. I went to McDonald's first to get my Diet Coke, as one does. But I'm so excited about this. This is also one of the, it's like one of the first whatevers. You know what I'm talking about. Also, it has like a rose embossed on the front of that. I didn't know that it had that. Fun. But the thing that I'm really excited about is like the inside of this dust jacket, because technically it's reversible and we have James on the reverse of the dust jacket, even though I think I like this one more just because it obviously like matches the other books better, but I do still love this art. The only problem is like the front of it is embossed, so you can kind of like see that on the back, but I don't even care. Like, it does not matter. I'm just so excited to finally have this book in my hands. Ooh, it's like pink. Is that pink? It's like, the spine, the words are pink, but sorry, I'm just like having a moment right now. I have done something stupid already, and I flipped through the book, and there's like pictures throughout the book. I think there's like 10 illustrations or something in it, and I saw something that I did not want to see already, and I was like, no, what's going on? Like, I didn't want to see that. Like, I feel like it was kind of a foregone conclusion that that was gonna happen, but I didn't want to see it with my eyes so early. But anyway, gonna be reading this book. It is, I don't want to see, oh wait, no, that's the story in the back. Just want to see a page count. 778 pages. Like, yeah, this is everything I could have possibly needed today. Let's see, plans for today, literally just gonna be reading this book. I'm gonna see how much of it that I can get through today. I'm also gonna be annotating it, which I'm so excited about because it's been a minute since I like full out annotated a book, and I'm very excited about it. I thought I could also kind of tell you what I'm gonna do as far as like annotating it, because I want to kind of match the annotating style to how I did the first two, even though I don't really annotate in that way anymore, but I do think it'll be kind of fun just to do it for like this book. So I have these colored pens, so I'm going to like coordinate the pens to my tabs and like underline things. And I'm just so excited to deface that book. It's gonna be a really good time. I'm going to go back to my apartment and start reading. Honestly, like, I'm a little scared. No, that's a lie. I'm really scared. Because I just don't know. I really don't know. I just, like, there's only one thing that I really need to happen in this book. And if that doesn't happen, I will riot. Like, absolutely will riot. So anyway, I do have class today, which is honestly like really rude that they would schedule class on the Chain of Thorns release date, but I do have a lab at noon that I need to go to. However, I don't think that should take very long, so when I get back, it's Chain of Thorns times. And until then, it is also time for Chain of Thorns, so I'm gonna go back to my apartment, start reading, and probably start crying if I had to take a guess. So let's get into it. so it is now 11:12. I do have to leave rather soon to go to my lab, but I thought I could give you my initial thoughts on Chain of Thorns. It's so good so far. Like, absolutely, I already know that it's gonna get a 5 stars. I'm only, let's see, like 43 pages into it, maybe. I've been feeling so many emotions, honestly. There are definitely things that make me really sad and really mad, but there's also like some really cute relationships developing, and there are like some really funny moments. And I'm just like having the best time already, which I'm so excited about. Like I knew I was, you know, like I'm not shocked. I really do feel like we just got right into it with this book, which I appreciate because so many things happened at the end of Chain of Iron, and the fact that things are finally happening, I'm like, yes. Literally all I could have wanted in life. You know what I'm saying? So there's my update on this. I also have a package that I'm gonna unbox, but it's over here. Hang on. I got this package yesterday, but I've been waiting to open it, like in this vlog, obviously, because I think it's from my Amazon business. Oh my god, I am so freaking excited about this book. Oh, who sent this to me? Jane. Oh, I'm so excited. She says, Katie, I hope you enjoy this series for the clever humor / romantic comedy. Great to read in between epic fantasy fun and mostly lighthearted, an ongoing story with individual mysteries in each book. Hope you like it. Jane, I've been so excited about starting this series. I've actually read like the first couple of chapters. I didn't even tell you what it is. This is A Curious Beginning by Deanna Raybourn. This is the first book in the Veronica Speedwell mystery series, and it's like a historical fiction, but like our main character solves mysteries with like this dude. And I've heard really good things about the like slow burn romance in this series. There's like 7 books in the series, and I think they're still coming out. I just have a feeling that I am going to love this series. And I've actually read the first 6 chapters of this book because I borrowed it from the library, and then I don't know why I put it down because I was really enjoying it, but I'm so excited to read this. I feel like this might be, I have to pick it up really soon. I might read this in February, so thank you so much, Jane. I heard somebody say it's like the adult equivalent almost of the Stalking Jack the Ripper series, like same vibes. That's like everything I need, honestly. Like obviously nobody can be Thomas Cresswell, but I'm still so excited about this book. So I need to start this ASAP, honestly, because it also takes place in the Victorian period era, whatever you want to call it. Yes. I am having the best day so far. Yeah. That's all you need to know. So I will talk to you guys later. Okay, so it is 5 o'clock now. I have just made it to page 130. And the absolute drama of this scene that I just witnessed. It's so good though, and I'm living for the drama right now. Like, it's too much. But overall, still having such a good time. I just like, this scene is so funny. And like, it's not funny because it's also like terrible. But also I'm like, oh. Yeah, aside from that though, so many things have been happening. It's been so fast-paced so far. It is absolutely living up to my expectations, and I'm so excited. So, honestly can't believe that I'm like a seventh of the way through the book already. Like, I am so excited to read some more. It's gonna be so good. The only problem is I'm going out to dinner with my friends tonight at like 6:30. So I only have like an hour and a half more to read, which is like unfortunate, but it's also kind of good in that way because I don't want to finish this book like super quickly. Like, I wanna give it some time, you know, because like this is it. So I need to give her the moment that she deserves. But so many things, so many good things. Well, actually, not that many good things, but bad things that I think are gonna lead to good things. Maybe. I don't know. Have been happening. There was also this like relationship that was kind of developing. Okay, well, like not really, but like it was kind of hinted at in the second book, and like a little scene happened in this book, and I was kind of like, oh, so like maybe I'd be really interested to see what the dynamic of this relationship is. And I don't quite know how to feel about it because one of the people I'm like, I don't know about you as a person, but also I don't know if I can blame everything they've done solely on them. So it's just like, it's very interesting. I think it could work out really well. Like, I think the dynamic between them can be really cute, but I just don't know. Also, Will has been in this book quite a few times, quite a bit more than he was in like the last couple, and I'm just like, Will Herondale, Dad of the Year. I love that man so much, and seeing him like interact with his kids is so cute. Also, I just keep thinking of things. There have been like a couple of ties to different series in this book, and I think it's so interesting. Like, I love picking that out because, like I said, in Chain of Iron there are definitely like a lot of ties to Dark Artifices, and we're definitely seeing more of those. But I think there's also a tie to the Mortal Instruments in here. Like, I think a character maybe like showed up in here that was in at least the first few books of that series. So that was very interesting, and I was not expecting it. When I saw it on the page, I was like, this seems familiar. So I will read some more of this, and I'll probably talk to you guys tomorrow after class. So I have class until like 2 tomorrow. Yes, so tomorrow afternoon I'll give you the update. I'll probably be doing some screaming unless like something scream worthy happens in what I read today. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so it is now Wednesday evening. It's like 5 o'clock now. I have had class like all day, so I have not had any time to read, but I will give you an update on what I read yesterday in a moment because I got like 3 packages in the last time since we have spoken. We need to open them, obviously. 2 of these are books from the same series, which I'm so excited to have. So we're just gonna open them. Yeah, and then we'll discuss it. I don't know. We're just gonna open it. Here she is. Oh, so excited to have this. This book has been well loved. I bought this book secondhand off of Amazon, and this is The Hero of Ages. This is the 3rd book in the Mistborn series by Brandon Sanderson. I read The Final Empire over the weekend, and it was so good. So I'm so excited to have the 3rd one, but also another thing that pertains to this mail, if I can open this one. We also have the 2nd one, The Well of Ascension. Ooh, that one's kind of like a little purple in there as well, but I love these covers. The UK covers are just so cool, and I'm so excited to have them. So I definitely plan on reading both of these books really soon because I'm very excited to see where the series goes, and yeah, good stuff. Good mail. But we also have this package, which I did not order, so we're just gonna see what's up with this one. Okay, so this is off of my Amazon wish list, and I am so excited to have this book. Also a little scared, I can't lie. I'm just a little bit scared, but we have The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. Yes, Cassandra has talked me in to wanting to read the series, even though I have heard that the series is just like incredibly brutal and I'm a little bit scared, but I mean I've heard it's great, so definitely been meaning to try out some of R.F. Kuang's writing, and who has given me the opportunity to do so? Morgan. Thank you so much, Morgan. She says, I picked this one up as well and I'm so excited to read it. Can't wait to hear your thoughts on it. Thank you so much, Morgan. I'm so excited to hopefully pick this up sometime soon. I'll definitely have to wait for when I'm in like a brutal adult fantasy mood. I don't know how I will know when that mood strikes me, but I'm a little scared to pick this book up. However, I think it's still gonna be like great. Like obviously everybody loves The Poppy War, so there is the book mail for today. Now let's get into the juicy stuff. Chain of Thorns, obviously. So I have made it up to page 212, and all I have to say is that men are stupid, right? So many things are going on in this book. I see reasons behind why certain characters are not telling other characters certain things, but also I'm like, you know, I just want to hit somebody. I'm like, come on now. However, I do have like actual coherent thoughts to say on it, but I am just no words for some situations that are going on in this book. I have really been liking the friendship dynamics. Well, actually, that's kind of I've been liking some of the friendship dynamics in this book because a couple of them are wavering, but for the most part, I'm really liking all of the interactions between like the main group of people. Another thing that I've kind of been noticing in this book and starting to like appreciate about this series as a whole is like the sibling dynamics that are present, because you're following like a couple of different Shadowhunter families and there's like a couple of kids in each of the families. So I really am liking the dynamics between like Cordelia and Alistair and Lucy and James and even like Anna and Christopher. Also, I'm gonna do this now because I just remembered that I wanted to do this. So recently, especially since I've been talking about like Chain of Thorns and Chain of Iron and all that, a lot of you guys have been like asking me in like the comment sections of my videos or like DMing me on Instagram what order you should read the Shadowhunters books in. And I've tried to respond to as many of them as I can, but I feel like it might just be easier to kind of address it in a video. So thank you to everybody who asked, because I'm always down to talk about my own failures as a human being and tell you the correct order in which you should read the Shadowhunters Chronicles. Well, okay, it's not quite the correct order, but it's the order that I would recommend, and I think it's also the order that Cassandra Clare recommends. There is like an article that I think Simon Teen did a while ago that has like 4 different ways that you can read the Shadowhunters Chronicles. So I'm just gonna talk about it real quick, but I'll also link that down below if anybody wants to check out like the other ways. As much as I would just tell you guys to jump into the Infernal Devices because it is technically the first series in like the timeline chronologically, and you can definitely start with the Infernal Devices, I do think it's beneficial to start with the first 3 Mortal Instruments books. Now here's where I failed as a human being, because I read the entirety of the Mortal Instruments, which is 6 books, before I read the Infernal Devices, and something that happens like at the very end of City of Heavenly Fire, which is the last book in the Mortal Instruments, spoils like a rather major plot point in the Infernal Devices. So like, if you're gonna take anything away from this section, don't read City of Heavenly Fire before you read the Infernal Devices, like I did. Obviously, it didn't really matter that much. It's still my favorite series of all time, but don't be like me, guys. So read like the first 3 Mortal Instruments books, then you can read the Infernal Devices, then you can kind of go back and read the last 3 Mortal Instruments books, or you can read the first 3 Mortal Instruments books, then the Infernal Devices, then you could read the Last Hours, which I would probably... maybe I would recommend doing it that way. Like, I think you should read the Last Hours before you read the Dark Artifices, because there are a lot of connections between the Last Hours and the Dark Artifices. So yes, yeah, that sounds right. Here's my order that I'm thinking. First 3 Mortal Instruments books, then you read the Infernal Devices, then you read the Last Hours, then you go read the last 3 Mortal Instruments books, then you read the Dark Artifices. Yes? Yes. Yes. There are also 3 short story collections in the Shadowhunters Chronicles, as well as another series. What's it called? The Eldest Curses. I don't really like the Eldest Curses that much, to be honest, so like, read them or don't. I don't know if I'd personally recommend them. However, I kind of just read them at the time because I was like, I need to read all of the Shadowhunters books. So if you do end up wanting to read them, I would probably read them maybe after the Dark Artifices, although you could read them directly after the Mortal Instruments because they kind of take place in the middle of the Mortal Instruments, if that makes sense. And then as far as like the short story collections, I don't even know when you should read them, to be honest. Like, maybe wait until you've read all the series, because I think there are certain things that happen in certain ones that could potentially like spoil minor things about the series. As a whole, I don't love her short story collections, but there are a couple of stories that I do really like. I really like The Midnight Air. That one follows James Herondale when he's like a bit younger, I think, than he is in The Last Hours. There's also one that's called The Whitechapel Fiend, which follows some characters from the Infernal Devices, which I love that one just because those characters are in it. I think there are others that follow characters from The Last Hours as well. I believe Anna is introduced in Every Exquisite Thing, and I know Matthew as well has a story that's like primarily about him, and I think both of those are in Ghosts of the Shadow Market, which that's my favorite short story collection. I would recommend most of the stories in that one. Like, I really enjoy that short story collection, but there's my 2 cents on the matter if anybody wanted to know. That's just how I would recommend personally reading the Shadowhunters Chronicles, because I think the Mortal Instruments does give a good like intro to the Shadowhunter world, which makes going into the Infernal Devices like a more enjoyable experience, because like you know what's going on, so you can just kind of focus on the characters and enjoy the characters. So I hope that makes sense. I just went off on a long tangent there, but I really wanted to let you guys know. You can also read them like chronologically, like obviously that won't be an issue. That took a bit longer than I was anticipating to explain how I would recommend you read the books, but I thought I would address it. If anybody's curious, that's what I'm thinking. But there are like other ways that you could read them. Just don't read the last 3 books in the Mortal Instruments before the Infernal Devices. Anyway, if I haven't said that enough, don't do it. It's now 5 o'clock. I'm going to read some more Chain of Thorns, which I'm so excited about. So, I'm scared. Like, I'm so terrified, honestly, of what's about to happen in this book, but it's gonna be a good time. Like, I know it's gonna be a good time, so let's do it. Okay, so it is quite a bit later. I think it's like 8 almost now, and I've made some progress. So I am up to page 306 of Chain of Thorns, and honestly, what's really happened in this last 100 pages? Things have definitely happened, and there's definitely a lot of groundwork being laid for some hopefully good reconciliation scenes. We can only hope so. But I do feel like so far this book has had a lot of emphasis put upon like friendships, because there's some friendships that are kind of not doing too hot at the moment, and it makes me very sad. But then there's also like new friendships forming, and those are kind of nice to see as well. But obviously I'm here for the relationship drama, development, whatever you want to call it. Not that I don't like the friendships, because like I absolutely do. I love seeing these characters so much, and I love seeing how they interact with each other because they're just so like comfortable and familiar with each other that it's just like, it's very easy. The banter flows very naturally, and I love reading about the scenes between all of them, but the romance is still putting me through it, and it irritates me. Like, obviously I knew this is what I was gonna get with this book, but I'm just like, and I know the entirety of this book, it's just gonna have me like, because, duh. It's a Cassandra Clare book. What do you really expect? You know what I'm saying? But there are some relationships being developed that are like a bit less angsty, and I definitely really enjoy that. I also love all of like the LGBT rep in this series because there are a couple of different relationships that are just so cute, and I love how like diverse this series is as a whole, and it's just been such a good time. You know, like I've had a lovely evening reading this book. I just feel like every time I pick it up, I fall into this world, and it's such a good time. So yeah, I'm still loving it. My opinion has not changed. The only bad thing that I've run into is I've run out of some of my tab colors, which is very unfortunate. As you can see, I've annotated a lot of this book so far, but I've run out of like my two most important tabs, which is very unfortunate. One of them is like my general purpose tab, which is where I just like put everything that doesn't really fit in a category. And then I've also run out of the moments I love tabs. So I'm like, how am I supposed to remember these moments? You know what I'm saying? So I need to go get some more tabs. The only thing is, I can only buy these tabs at Target, and Target's like 20 minutes away, and I'd rather not drive to Target right now, you know? I think I might go after class tomorrow to Target to get more tabs. I mean, it is a good thing that I've been using so many of like my good moment tabs, but there are a lot of orange tabs, which are things that make me mad. And there are definitely quite a few blue tabs, which are things that make me sad, which I am absolutely not surprised at the amount of blue tabs that are in this book. If I had to take a guess, I'll probably be using a lot of them as this book progresses, because some of the things that Cassandra Clare herself has said about what goes down in this book, I'm like, what's about to happen? And I'm so scared. I feel like I'm kind of in the calm before the storm. You know what I'm saying? Because I am like a third, maybe a little bit more than a third of the way through the book. So obviously I feel like something's gonna happen before part 2, and I don't think I'm mentally prepared for that in any capacity. So I'm a little scared. But I'm also excited. Like, I don't know. I just want to know why Cassandra Clare decided, like, yeah, I'm gonna make these prequel series just like so depressing. I have been kind of flipping through the illustrations in this book, which is not a good idea. Like, don't do that, because there are like slight spoilers, like things that you know are gonna happen, but like you don't want to know when they happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, it should be a surprise, but the illustrations definitely like spoil things, like minor things that happen later in the book. But I've seen a couple. I'm like, oh, I want to get to those, and I'm so excited about them. But I need to stop flipping through them, because one of these times I'm going to spoil myself for something, and I don't want that. I saw on Instagram earlier today too that somebody's already been spoiled for something that happened in Chain of Thorns. And I was like, it's the second day. How has anybody finished the book yet? I don't get it. Well, like, I do get it, because if I had more time, I would probably be finished with the book too. But I've tried to stay off Instagram as much as possible too, because I saw somebody, it was just like a picture of this book, and I clicked on it, and they were like, I just finished it. I was like, no, I gotta go. I can't be here right now. So, scared of spoilers, scared of actually finding out what happens in the book, just terror. No, I'm kidding. That's so dramatic. So yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna update you guys again tonight. It really just depends on if something big happens, although I'm not really sure if anything super big is going to happen until we get to part 2, which I think is in like the 500s as far as page count goes. So theoretically, like, I could make it to page 500 tonight. I just don't know if I want to do that, because while I do want to like read a bunch of this book, I'm also like, this is it. You gotta savor it while you can. And I just don't know. Lots of conflicting emotions, as you can tell. I'm just not realizing this has been a very rambly update, but I have a lot of thoughts. I have a lot of things that I'm thinking up here, so yeah, I'm gonna go read some more. Okay, so it is now Thursday morning. I have an update, obviously. So I made it up to page 406 last night. I am on chapter 21. So many things have happened since the last time I talked to you. And I can't say too much about it, but I will leave you with this. I was noticing a parallel. Honestly, I've been noticing too many parallels in this book, and one of those parallels terrifies me. Like, I'm so scared for something that could potentially happen to somebody, and the ramifications of how it will impact those around them. And I'm like, what? Why? I just want to know why. I do, however, feel like maybe some good things are finally happening as far as like the romance goes, which I'm definitely excited about. There is this illustration in this book that obviously I did not stop myself from flipping through more of the illustrations, but I was like, oh, wow. I read a few of the lines that were on that page next to that illustration. I was like, oh, wow. Like, should I have done it? No, because like it's like another 50 pages until I get there, but it is definitely like, I need to get to that scene right now. Currently, it is 11 o'clock. I do have class at 2, which is gross, honestly. But I have spent my morning filming my January wrap-up, which needed to happen, so I'm glad that that did happen. Until I have to go to class, I'm going to spend some more time reading Chain of Thorns, and then after class, I'm going to go to Target so I can get more tabs. I'm having such a good time annotating this book. Like, it's been a long time since I busted out my color-coordinated like tabs and pens, and it's really fun. Like, I'm not going to annotate more books like this because it is incredibly like time intensive. Like, you gotta, you know, line up the ruler, underline it, write things about it. It does take time, and it does kind of take you out of the story just a little bit, but I love having it to flip back through later. So most of the time, like when I'm in the middle of the scene and I want to kind of underline things or whatnot, I do just wait until I'm at the end of the scene and then I go back. My thoughts have not changed on the book. I'm still having a good time, still gonna give it a 5 stars, still probably gonna cry, I'm still scared, but it's really good. So anyway, I'm gonna go downstairs, I'm gonna read some. I do know I have to spend like a decent amount of time later editing my January wrap up because it's supposed to go up tomorrow. And I just filmed it, so I kind of need to work on that. But I'm thinking that's kind of an after class project, you know what I'm saying? So until I leave at like 1:20, maybe I'm gonna read. So it'll be a good time. Have not read like much more, maybe like, actually that's a lie, I think I have read a decent amount. I think I've read like 40 pages, and can I just say that the Clave, who is like the governing body of sorts for the Shadow Hunters, they suck. Like in every single series, they suck. I don't know why they can't find normal people to like govern to like lead the shadow hunters. But in literally every single series, the Clave is just like the most corrupt, vile group of human beings. Well, not like all of them, but I feel like it's always the Inquisitors. The Inquisitors suck, like they're terrible people. And it makes me so upset because they're coming after my girly Tessa. And I'm like, no. You like attack anybody else you want, but you will not, you won't. Like you just won't do that. It makes me very upset because I love her so much. So to see like everybody, I'm mad. I guess that's the point. It's definitely the point. But I'm mad. All right, so it is 1 o'clock now. I have made more progress in Chain of Thorns, but big things, very important big things have gone down in the last like however many pages that I've read, and just like yes, absolutely yes. I don't have any other words, honestly. I've made it up to page 481. I'm like, I guess like 2/3 of the way. No, oh, I just saw the name of the intermission. No, I need to stop flipping through this damn book. I need to calm myself and just stop being dumb. I've gone through, I feel like, so many different emotions throughout this book. Like I've been sad, I've been mad, I've been elated, I mean, I'm about to be sad again, maybe. I have no clue. Because like all of the good stuff has kind of happened like in the middle of the book. So I'm like, what's left to happen at the end of the book? I feel like this vlog is literally just gonna be filled with like the most sad updates of me just like not knowing how to articulate my feelings well. But I'm gonna stop here for now on page 480. I think my goal is going to be to make it to part 2 today, but I need to go to class because it's like 1:10 now. Well, it's 1:13 now. I need to leave soon so I can get a good parking spot, you know. And then after class, like I said earlier, I'm gonna go to Target to get more tabs because I have been like underlining and like writing thoughts, but I have not tabbed any of them yet. And it's gonna be so satisfying once I put more tabs in this book. Honestly, like a crime that I have to go to class right now because I like think so. Okay, bye. That's enough of this update. This is such a bad update. I'm gonna go. I will talk to you guys later. Sitting here for like 10 minutes just staring at the wall because I don't know what to do with myself right now. No, I don't have any words. Absolutely, like, no words. No. No. Yeah. That's the update. There we go. I thought I was prepared for the pain, but I was not. It's fine. Everything's fine. Well, I finished part 2 and I'm gonna call it good for tonight because I don't think I could take much more. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so it's the next day. It's Friday. I am updating you from the spot that I last updated you in. However, I am in a significantly better mood today. I'm still not over the thing that happened last night. Do not get me wrong. I will never forgive Cassandra Clare for what she has done. Oh, I'm so upset. But we won't think about it right now. It's like 2 o'clock on Friday afternoon. I'm done with my classes, so it is the weekend, and that means I'm gonna be finishing this book. This book, it's hit the sad point. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's reminding me a lot of Clockwork Princess. Just, you know, first part of it was good. I think the last part of this book is gonna put me through it. I'm excited to see how this wraps up. The thing that happened at the end of part 1, well, aside from like the thing that made me sad, but like there's something else that happened at the end of part 1, and it is definitely setting up part 2 to be very interesting and not exactly what I was anticipating, although I don't really know what I was anticipating, but it wasn't that. I think at least I'm a little less scared of the last part of this book because, you know, the depressing thing that I thought was gonna happen, well, yeah. So, I can't lie though, some good things, actually some very good things, were happening in the section that I read yesterday. I think my, you know, the emotions I was feeling last night really took away from the good stuff that's happened in this book recently. I think the couple that I wanted to be endgame, well, not I think, I mean, like, they just are. I feel like you kind of saw it coming. For the most part, Cassandra Clare never, she kind of, well, I don't know. Okay. I'm just happy because the couple I wanted to be endgame is endgame, and that's honestly what I've been waiting for like almost 2 years now. So to see it finally happen, incredibly satisfying. There's also some other relationships that have been just like developing, and I love them all so much. I'm so happy for all of them. And like, yeah, good things have been going on in this book, aside from like the last 10 pages. But before those last 10 pages that I read last night, it was so good. I do have like some things about this book that I don't absolutely love, but my enjoyment and my love for these characters, like, it'll outshine basically any other gripes that I have with this series, because obviously I'm gonna give Chain of Thorns a 5 out of 5 stars, and it's gonna be like a favorite book of the year. I know there's still like 200 pages left, but I can already tell you that that's the case. I don't really like the conflict in this series or the Infernal Devices either. Obviously, like, the thing that draws probably everybody in about Cassandra Clare's series is her characters. She writes so many good characters. They're all so complex. There's really good like friendships and relationships, and like, that's why you read Cassandra Clare books, not for the, you know, complex and interesting villain. Although actually, I can't lie, I do think the Mortal Instruments has some pretty good antagonists, but I feel like in every other series they're kind of just like, meh. I mean, they're happening, but obviously best part is the characters. And the only problem is, in this book, the first 500 pages kind of have been that, but since it's the last book in the series, this last part's probably just gonna focus on wrapping up the plot, and I'm kind of just like, I don't know if I care about the plot. However, I am very, very incredibly excited to see just how things end up. I feel like I kind of have the same feelings towards Chain of Thorns that I have towards Clockwork Princess, and that it's, I love both of these books. They're absolutely elite, but they make me sad, and they're not my favorites of like their respective series. But obviously as a whole, I love the Infernal Devices. As a whole, I love The Last Hours. There's just always some emotional things happening at the end of these books that makes me want to scream. But like, that's also the fun part. I don't know. Many complex emotions. Anyway, I'm gonna read a bit. My camera's also dying, so I gotta go. And I'll update you when I've read like 100 pages maybe. Okay, it's 100 pages later. I have not like filmed any B-roll in between the time that I last talked to you, because I can only flip through these pages in different locations so many times in this vlog. So I'm just gonna like knock it off for now. I am on page 673. So I have like 100 or so pages left, and I think I have enough time to finish this up tonight. I want to read what other people are saying about it so badly, but I've been avoiding looking at anything Chain of Thorns related for the last like few days because obviously I do not want spoilers. But I think, like, I just need to know how this book ends. I'm gonna finish it up right now. In seeing how the ending of this book was getting set up, I was unsure if I would be interested in kind of the final action-y part here, but surprisingly, I'm kind of like, oh, I kind of like this. I like how everything is evolving, and I need to see what's about to go down. I also looked at the last illustration in this book because there's one left, and I was like, fine, I want to see what it looks like, so I'm gonna look at it. And I have no clue what the hell is going on. It's so weird, and I need to know what that's about. That's my short little update here. It's like 5 o'clock now, so I'm gonna finish this book and cry. Although the further I get into this book and the closer I get to finishing it, the more I'm like, should I start a reread of the Infernal Devices when I finish this? Because it's making me like miss those characters, you know? Like, certain characters in that series are indeed in this book, and every time I see them I'm like, oh, I miss them. So I might have to start a reread. I don't know. When I say I'm gonna do a reread, I'm probably only going to reread the first 2 books in that series. Love Clockwork Princess, but I can't get myself to reread it. I don't, but like I know why, because it just makes me sad. But I've read like Clockwork Angel and Clockwork Prince both like 4 times at this point. I've read Clockwork Princess once. I literally never reread it when I say I'm doing a reread of The Infernal Devices because it hurts me. But maybe this time I'll actually reread it. Anyway, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna finish this book, and yeah, those are my plans. Okay, good morning everybody. It is Saturday and I am here to wrap up the vlog because I did, as you saw, finish Chain of Thorns last night. And like absolutely, I'm going to be giving this book a 5-star. Overall, I really enjoyed it. Like it met my expectations. I don't think it quite exceeded them, but it definitely, like I'm very happy for the most part with everything that went on, and like it was just a good time. I was eating it up. I love all of these characters so much. I really liked seeing a lot of the character development that finally like that arc was finally completed for them. I really like Cordelia's character arc over the course of this series, specifically because in the first book, Chain of Gold, she had just moved to London. She's very new, very kind of conscious of what people think about her. Not really, like she is a strong character to begin with, but just like the development of like how she deals with situations, how she reacts to just like a lot of things that are going on. I love her. She's definitely like one of my new fave Shadowhunters characters. I love her so much. As I was saying, I'm sure I've said this a bunch of other times, but I really like the relationships and friendships that develop throughout this series. Mainly, like in this one, I feel like it focuses a lot on both. Like you kind of have 3 different, you know, relationships that are spotlighted throughout this one. And I really liked seeing those kind of just like come together, you know. It's very satisfying. And also there's just a big focus on friendship in this book as well. And I love how this cast of characters interacts with each other. Like it's just, you just feel like you're part of the gang. You know what I'm saying? And it's so fun. However, I also have some things that I didn't love about this book. Like they're not going to affect my rating because like overall there's no way I wasn't gonna give this book a 5-star. Like absolutely, you know what I'm saying? But there were a couple of things, a couple of issues I would say throughout this book, and it made me definitely not like this book as much as I liked Chain of Iron and Chain of Gold. Although honestly that's not saying much because Chain of Iron and Chain of Gold are like 2 of my all-time favorite books. So like it's fine that it didn't quite live up to how I felt about those. I'm really not surprised that it didn't live up to them, to be honest, mainly because it's the last book in a series and like a lot of things need to happen in this book, but I didn't like how a lot of those things happened. Like, I don't know. I think the pacing was really weird in this book because for the first like 500 pages, like this is a long book. This is like almost 800 pages, but like for the first 500 pages, I feel like almost like a lot of things happened and then not a lot of things happened. And you know, I was good with like that, but I just feel like for a final book, I was kind of like, I feel like more things need to be happening. And then I feel like all of the really important stuff, it happened really quickly because part 2 in this book starts on page like 550, which is like 3/4 of the way through the book. And I'm like, how do you wrap everything up in like that short of an amount of time? And I feel like if she would have started part 2 like in the middle of the book as opposed to like where it actually is in this book, I feel like the action probably would have been a bit better because she wasn't trying to shove it into like, how long is this book? 200 pages-ish? And I don't know. And I didn't really love the like, you know, climactic ending bit. It was just kind of weird. I like how the issue got resolved. Like I think it was cool, but there's just this scene of, I don't know, it's just like so, it was so strange. It's the okay, if you have this book and you've read this book, I'm mainly talking about the thing that's like happening in the final illustration that is in this book, because I'm just like, what's going on? I got a glimpse. Actually, that's a lie. I did not just glimpse the last illustrations. I intentionally looked at it, which I wouldn't recommend. I'm gonna drive this point home. If you're gonna read this book, don't flip through it. Don't look at the illustrations. Don't do it, because then you'll end up like me. Like, it's not that big of a deal, but when I saw that illustration, I was like, what's going on? And then when it was happening, I was like, what's going on? There were some aspects to like the final battle sequence that I enjoyed, kind of the army that was employed by the villain. I think that was a really interesting thing to add in there, and I definitely liked it, but I feel like there wasn't enough time to fully develop this battle and like really get the emotions running high throughout it, because I feel like it happened so quickly. It was interesting, but I don't think it's been my favorite way that a problem gets resolved in a Cassandra Clare series. Although now that I think about it, all of the endings of her series are just like kind of what's going on. Mainly I'm thinking of the Dark Artifices, because there's something that happens at the end of that series. I'm like, I was very caught off guard at the end of that series. That's definitely like a lot weirder than what was going on in here, but I was kind of just like, what? My other kind of main issue with this book specifically is that there were a lot of, you know, emotional scenes for a lot of different characters, because this last book we're seeing, you know, a lot of big sad things happening, which is fine, and like the emotional scenes, like they really make the book more impactful, but I feel like we didn't really get to see those emotional scenes, and I don't know, they just kept getting referenced, like, yeah, this thing did happen, but we didn't get to see it, and I was like, why didn't we not get to see it? There was this is like very important thing that happens, and we did not get to see something very important. We did not get to hear some very important words, and I was like, the disrespect that I am feeling, but there are also just like other scenes that happened that we didn't get to see, and I was like, why not? I feel like, again, I feel like if she would have cut down on the first part of this book and like added more scenes in, I would have been like, yeah, so good. But I just wish we could have seen those scenes. I feel like it would have made me very emotional, which, you know, maybe I don't want to be emotional, but it's always a good thing when a book makes you emotional, but we didn't get to see them, so I was like, okay. That's fine. Another thing kind of to that effect is there wasn't enough time between the final like action-y sequence of the battle and the epilogue. I really liked the epilogue. It made me a lot less sad than a lot of epilogues normally do, but I feel like once like the kind of major conflict got resolved, it just jumped right into the epilogue, and I just feel like there were probably so many emotions that like all of the characters were feeling the day after the battle that we didn't get to see, and I was like, I want to see it though. Like, why is it not there? But overall, I do feel like Chain of Thorns was a very satisfying ending to this series, and I liked it. I've definitely seen some mixed reviews. There's a lot of people I think that are disappointed by it, which I can see why they're disappointed by it. Like, there were very few things that I just like really needed to happen in this book, so like I was pretty easy to please when it came to like things that were happening in this book, but I definitely see why people are a little bit disappointed with it. Personally, I'm not disappointed with it at all. I really enjoyed it. I had a really good time reading it. No, I mean, I have a few qualms obviously, but like overall it was really good. However, I do have a couple of things that I want to say, and I need a way to share these with people. So starting from right now, I'm going to do a couple of like a little mini spoilery discussion of sorts, because it's not really a review, because I just want to talk about like a few things, but I need an outlet for my feelings about these things. So if you have not read Chain of Thorns and you are planning on reading Chain of Thorns, leave. I'm so sorry, but I need to talk about these things. So if you've made it to this point, thank you so much, but I'll put timestamps to when I am done with the spoilery discussion. Yeah. Anyway, I'm hoping everybody that's here now has read Chain of Thorns and we can have a little bit of a chat. I just want to know why it had to be Christopher. I am so so upset. I'm still not over it. It happened 2 nights ago, but every time I think about it, it hurts a little bit. Because even in the reading vlog that I was doing, in which I was rereading Chain of Iron, I was talking about how much I love Christopher and how he's one of my favorite characters. And then I saw, and then I read that he got something like flung at him like in the shoulder during battle. I was like, oh no. I can see where it's going. He was like, I'm fine. I'm like, no, you're not. I just know you're not. And I was so, like, I was literally so upset. It's always my favorite character. Like, what's that about? I'm gonna assume you guys have read The Infernal Devices if you've also read Chain of Thorns. But like, in The Infernal Devices, it's Jem. In this book, it's Christopher. And I'm like, I didn't deserve this. I don't know what I've done to deserve this. And like another kind of gripe that I have with it that I was very like hinting at earlier is like, why did we not get to see his funeral? Like, that's what I want to know. There were no Ave Aquae ballets. It's not even what it is for him. And I'm like, I feel like we didn't get to see his friends properly grieve. And I'm just like, I'm actually very upset about that because I feel like we just should have seen more from the characters. Like, obviously there were scenes like directly after he died about all of them like being really sad. Obviously it affected Thomas a lot, but I feel like we didn't get enough and I'm a little bit disappointed. Because like this series, like there's like a heavy emphasis on friendship. He was part of the Merry Thieves. I will never get over this. Like, Cassandra Clare, why? I don't want to say I see why it was Christopher because I don't know. I mean, I wish it wasn't. I think, honestly, going into this book, I expected it to be Matthew, but I also see why it wasn't Matthew because with him and all of his, like, drinking issues that are getting resolved in this book, it would just be so terrible of her to, like, kill him off as he's trying to work through these issues. So I get why it wasn't Matthew, and I'm really glad that it was not Matthew. But why did it have to be Christopher? I don't even know who else I would want it to be. Just not Kit. Another thing though that I really liked about this book is that they definitely focused heavily on Matthew, you know, his addiction and kind of how it's impacted his life and how he's getting on the right track, and that made me really happy. I was like, oh, good for Matthew. Also, what's their ship name? Hare and Daisy? No, I don't like it. Also, very, like, incredibly satisfying that James and Cordelia did indeed end up together. Like, I feel like Cassandra Clare wouldn't not make them endgame, but there was still like a part of my mind I was like, what if she's going to though? Like, I was very concerned, but also the love triangle pissed me off. I did not care for this love triangle at all because, like, my thing is Cordelia does not love Matthew. Like, there was no way. Definitely maybe like an attraction on like a very like basic level, but she was not in love with Matthew, and I feel so bad for Matthew because, like, he really did love her, even though I feel like we didn't get enough build up to that, but he seemed to think he did, so I felt really bad for him. But overall, I love James Harrendale, so, like, obviously I wanted Cordelia to end up with James. I mean, they were already married anyway, so, like, obviously. I just love them so much, and I'm so happy that they ended up together. Also, Alistair has really turned out to be one of my absolute favorite characters in this series. I think he's so funny. I love his dry humor, and it's crazy to me because I didn't like him in Chain of Gold, which I think is kind of the point, but I was like, ew, not Alistair. But in this book, I feel like he got a ton of page time, and I was like, yeah. And him and Thomas, I was like, yeah. Love them. I was so happy about it. I'm trying to think of like other important things that I want to say about this book, but I know that like I'll probably forget them now, and then as I'm editing this I'll be like, you should have said this, but just a lot of things happened, and then like a lot of things didn't happen. Okay, actually, let's talk about Belial crowning himself King of England. I was like, for what reason? I just thought that it was so random, and I don't know, it made me laugh, but I feel like it shouldn't have made me laugh. Although, when he resurrected, oh, that one dude, what was he? Was he an archbishop? I don't know, the dude that had to be there to crown him. It gave me the absolute worst mental image because he's just like summoning this, you know, very long dead dude who's just like a skeleton walking around, and I was like, so many things are going on, and I I just don't know how I feel about it. But like the rest of it was great because there are a lot of good things going on with a lot of my favorite characters aside from Christopher, but we won't talk about it. Although I can't lie, I'm also kind of sad for Grace that Christopher died. And I feel like that's gonna be a hot take because, you know, Grace, we all hate Grace. I hate Grace still a little bit, but I can't like fully blame Grace for how, you know, she is as a person because it's definitely a product of her upbringing. And Tatiana being the craziest bitch on the planet. Every time Tatiana was in a scene in this book, I was like, just stop. She wasn't like a good villain either. She was just like irritating. And I was like, I don't know. Like obviously I don't like Tatiana, who does, but I did not like her as a villain. I didn't even really care for Belial as a villain either, to be honest, because like, I don't know, I feel like it's more interesting when like actual people are the antagonist, so I guess that means I should think Tatiana is a more interesting, you know, villain, but I don't know, I got off on a tangent there. I don't fully blame Grace for how she has, you know, had to act throughout her life. Obviously, if you are experiencing that kind of mental abuse from like your only parental figure, you're probably, like, you're gonna have some issues later in life, as Grace obviously has. I do not forgive her for the bracelet situation because, like, yeah, it was terrible and it definitely pissed me off. There's so many moments throughout the series where I was like, ew, not Grace. But I really liked all of her interactions with Christopher. Like, they were so precious. Both of them just talking about science together, and I was like, oh, they really could have had something. And it was the damn family tree that got me. Like, if you guys, I feel like you guys probably know, but there has been this family tree. I think it was on the, like, the dust jacket, like the inside of the dust jacket for the first editions of Clockwork Princess. I don't have one, unfortunately, which is very sad, but I've seen it online, obviously, and there is this family tree that Esme Hardcastle made that's just like very notoriously wrong. Like, there's so many just like wrong things, people missing, all that kind of stuff. Cassandra Clare herself has been like, yeah, it's not right, but also I'm like, why'd you write the damn family tree if it's not right? However, in this book, there were like bits of Esme Hardcastle going around like collecting information for the family tree, and they addressed it in this book that it's just like not true. And I was like, why? I just like, I don't know, the whole thing with the family tree is just weird to me, but I'm obviously, Cassie's been writing this series for like ever, so it makes sense that she would want to change her mind along the way and whatnot, but I'm just like, not the damn family tree. It made me think that Christopher and Grace were gonna end up together, and I can't lie, I kept having hope throughout the second half of the book that Christopher would just come back, but no. I mean, I guess he did technically to visit Grace. I was gonna cry again at that scene. I was like, stop. But it's fine. Like, I'm fine. Anyway, I've probably forgotten like 40 million things that I want to say about this book, but that happens when the book's almost 800 pages, so I think that might be all of the spoilery things that I have to say for now. So that's the end of my spoiler section. If you guys also want to tell me some of your spoilery opinions, you can definitely comment it down below. Like, obviously just put big spoilers, lots of spaces under the spoilers, and then we can talk about it. Or you can DM me on Instagram. I'm always down to talk to anybody about anything Cassandra Clare related, so that's linked below too if you should want to. I'd love to talk about it with you guys, so yeah. That is the end of my spoilery section. So that's also the end of my vlog, and I can't believe that it's done. The vlog's done, the book's done, the series is done. I'm done, honestly. Like, this book definitely, it ruined me just a little bit. I don't think I'll ever get over these characters, honestly. I'll never get over these series. Just the fact that, you know, The Last Hours is completed now, and it's done. I can't think about it too much. I'm gonna like cry or something. But, yeah. Also, we're gonna take a second to talk about how satisfying this book looks now that it's like fully annotated. Like, oh my god, I think I went a little too hard, honestly. Like, I can't lie, but it's so pretty. I love it. Ooh, that sound. Yeah, honestly, I've had the best time this week reading this book annotating this book, talking to you guys about it. So I hope you guys also really enjoyed seeing me like almost cry 7 times and just generally be really sad about this book. So yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed the vlog. If you did, please do let me know down below. Have you read The Last Hours? Have you read any Cassandra Clare series? Really? If you have, tell me which ones. If not, why not, guys? You gotta read The Infernal Devices. Just like, trust me on this one. But I digress. Anyway, I'm gonna go have a good cry, and I'll talk to you guys in my next video. Yes, all right.